I never thought I'd get caught. Not like this. Not by him. It all started so innocently, or at least that's how I tried to convince myself. My marriage was a routine. Not bad, but not exactly exciting either. My husband, Michael, was a good man, kind, dependable, a little too predictable at times. He worked hard, came home on time, and always put me first. But the spark? That was long gone. We were more like roommates than anything else. Then came the friend request on Facebook. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. At first, it was just a stranger. Handsome, yes. A little too polished, maybe, but I didn't think much of it. I was just bored, looking for something to break the monotony of my days. But the moment I clicked accept, everything changed. Suddenly, I was talking to someone who made me feel alive again. Someone who saw me, really saw me. He told me he was successful, a man of power and wealth, everything Michael wasn't. He told me I deserved more, promised me a life I couldn't imagine. And I bought it. Every word, every compliment. But what I didn't know was that everything I thought I was hiding was being watched. It wasn't long before the game was set. The stakes were high, and I had no idea how close I was to losing everything. Would I have done things differently if I had known? Probably not. But I do know this. I never saw what was coming next. It was a typical Tuesday evening, the kind where nothing special happens and the hours just drag by. I sat on the couch, scrolling aimlessly through Facebook when a notification popped up, friend request. I glanced at the name, something unfamiliar, and then, without thinking much, I clicked on the profile. His picture hit me like a wave. Tall, dark, and undeniably handsome. He had piercing eyes that seemed to see right through me, and a smirk that made my heart skip a beat. I felt a little rush of excitement I hadn't felt in ages. Something about him felt different, a little dangerous, but captivating. I hesitated for only a second before I clicked accept. Almost immediately, the messages started popping up. "Hey there, how's your evening going?" he asked casually. I smiled, typing back, "Good, just bored. How about you?" It started innocent enough. Small talk, just two strangers passing time. But the more we talked, the deeper the conversation got. He told me he was a PhD holder, a successful entrepreneur with 5 businesses and 3 houses spread across the world. He spoke about his travels to Paris, New York, Tokyo, the kind of life I'd only ever seen in movies. "Must be nice," I replied, trying to sound casual, but inside I felt a pull. "You deserve that life," he typed back. "You deserve someone who sees you for who you really are, not just someone's wife." And just like that, the walls I had built around myself started crumbling. Every word he sent felt like a balm to the parts of me I'd been ignoring for too long. He made me feel special, wanted, like I mattered. It was the kind of attention I had been craving, and it felt so good to have someone finally notice me like that. As the days passed, I found myself checking my phone constantly, eagerly waiting for the next message from him. His words became my lifeline. He always knew exactly what to say, effortlessly drawing me in deeper. It started innocently enough, a few texts here and there. But soon, our conversations turned into something more. He would compliment me endlessly, telling me how beautiful I was, how I deserved so much more than what I had. It was flattering, of course, but it was more than just that. It was like he was chipping away at my self-doubt, making me believe that maybe, just maybe, I did deserve more. "You're not like the others," he'd text. "You're special. You're the kind of woman who deserves the world." And the more he said it, the more I started to believe him. I began to spend hours on my phone, chatting with him whenever I could, hiding it from Michael. He never complained, never questioned me, but I could feel him drifting. Maybe he sensed something had shifted, but he didn't ask. He was always so wrapped up in his work, always tired, always busy with his own life. I couldn't help but feel resentful. Why didn't he ever notice me? Why did he never pay attention the way this stranger did? I started giving Michael the cold shoulder, barely acknowledging him when he spoke. When he tried to engage me, I was distracted, my mind already elsewhere. I didn't want to be with him anymore, and deep down, I knew it was because I had found someone who saw me differently. Someone who made me feel alive. And then, it happened. He told me he loved me. It was casual at first, buried in one of his usual compliments. "You know, I think I could fall in love with you," he said. I laughed it off, thinking it was just another flirty line, but then he followed it with something more serious. I already have fallen for you. You make my heart race. You deserve so much better than what you're getting. I could feel my pulse quicken, my heart swelling with emotions I hadn't allowed myself to feel in so long. This wasn't just infatuation anymore, it was real. He made me feel like I mattered, like I was worth something. He loved me. The realization hit me hard. I didn't even know how much I had needed that feeling, how much I had missed being wanted in such a passionate, intense way. It was as if I'd been starving for attention, and now I was finally being fed. My husband never gave me this, never made me feel this way. The more he showered me with affection, the more distant I became from Michael. I'd find myself growing annoyed with the smallest things he did, irritated by his presence, as though he was a constant reminder of everything I felt I was missing. Why did I stay with him? I had begun questioning everything. My life, my marriage, even my own self-worth. Was this really all there was? Was this it? When the man promised me a life of passion, adventure, and excitement, I could feel the cracks in my marriage widening. I wasn't just emotionally detached from Michael anymore. I was disconnected. And the more I thought about the life I could have with the stranger, free, exhilarating, full of love, the more I resented the life I was living. The gap between my marriage and what I truly wanted grew wider by the day. But at the same time, I felt guilty. Guilt washed over me when I caught a glimpse of Michael's face, trying to get my attention, his eyes searching mine, as if asking, "What happened to us?" But I wasn't ready to face the truth yet. Not when this new world was so intoxicating. It came like a bombshell, an invitation to meet in person. "Let's make this real," he texted one night, his words carrying an electric charge that jolted through me. "I can't stop thinking about you. I want to meet you. I want to see you. Just us. No distractions. We'll make it unforgettable." My heart raced as I read his message over and over again. This was it, the moment I'd been fantasizing about, yet had never truly believed would come. We spent the next few hours making plans. He suggested a hotel downtown, somewhere secluded and discreet. The idea of a luxury hotel room, just the two of us, felt like a scene from a forbidden romance novel. His promises of what would happen when we were together made me feel giddy, terrified, and completely alive. There would be no holding back, he said. The chemistry between us had been building for weeks, and now we would finally experience it. But there was one small problem. I couldn't tell Michael. Not like this. I couldn't risk him finding out. So, with a sick feeling in my stomach, I told him I was going to visit my sister for the day. She lived a few hours away, and it seemed like a good enough excuse. "I won't be back until later tonight," I told Michael, forcing a smile. He didn't seem suspicious, though something in his eyes flickered. A small doubt, maybe, but he didn't say anything. I didn't look back as I grabbed my purse and left, my heart pounding in my chest. As I drove to the hotel, I couldn't shake the mix of excitement and guilt swirling inside me. This was it. This was the moment I'd been waiting for. The moment I would break free from the mundane and step into a world of desire, passion, and everything I thought I'd been missing. But even as I felt the thrill building, a small voice inside whispered that I was making a mistake. I ignored it. The anticipation was too powerful to resist now. I was already halfway there, and nothing could turn me back. The hotel was even more stunning than I imagined. The sleek, modern lobby, the soft hum of quiet conversations, and the smell of fresh flowers in the air made everything feel so perfect. I walked toward the elevator, feeling my pulse quicken, my skin tingling with anticipation. My fingers brushed against my phone, checking the last message from him. "I can't wait to see you. This will be unforgettable." I took a deep breath, trying to calm the fluttering in my stomach. The idea of finally meeting him, feeling his touch, was almost too much to bear. I was just moments away from stepping into a fantasy, and it felt like everything was aligning just right. But when I arrived at the room, something felt off. I pushed open the door, the room dimly lit by the golden glow of the lamps. I expected him to be waiting, a smile on his face, perhaps leaning casually against the bed or standing near the window, looking out. But what I didn't expect was to see Michael, my husband, sitting calmly on the chair near the bed, his hands clasped together, his eyes locked with mine as the door clicked shut behind me. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. I froze in place, my mind racing, trying to process what was happening. What was he doing here? Why was he here? He didn't move, didn't flinch, just sat there, watching me, his face a mask of quiet calm, but his eyes, they told a different story. Hurt, disappointment, I couldn't look away. You, I stammered, stepping backward, my heart sinking. Surprised? Michael's voice was steady, but there was a chill in it, something distant and cold. He stood up slowly, walking toward me, his steps deliberate. I think we need to talk. I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. My head spun, and my knees went weak as the truth hit me like a ton of bricks. He had been watching me. Watching us. I had a feeling something wasn't right, Michael continued, his words cutting through the thick air. I couldn't explain it, but I knew. The way you'd been acting, distant, cold, always on your phone, I knew something was off, and I couldn't just sit back and pretend everything was fine. I felt my stomach churn with guilt, with regret. My body wanted to collapse, to melt into the floor, but I stayed rooted to the spot, unable to escape the reality that was crashing down around me. I created that fake account, Michael said, his voice unwavering. I wanted to see if you would be honest with me, if you'd choose me over someone else. I didn't want to believe it, but I had to know. The words felt like a slap in the face. My throat went dry as I processed the full weight of his revelation. The man I'd been talking to, the one I thought was so perfect, was him, my own husband. I wanted to scream, to run, but I couldn't move. I was trapped in the web of my own making, and I was the one who had gotten caught. Michael? I trailed off, not even knowing where to begin. The guilt, the shame, how could I explain any of it? How could I justify what I'd done? His eyes softened slightly, but the hurt remained. I wanted to test you, he said quietly. I didn't want to, but I had to know if you were capable of this. You failed, and I don't know where we go from here. The silence between us felt suffocating, thick with the weight of betrayal. My body trembled, the reality of what I had done sinking deeper into my bones. This was my fault. I had walked into this trap with open eyes, thinking I could get away with it. But now, there was no turning back. I stood there, paralyzed, as Michael's words continued to echo in my mind. He had tested me. I had failed. The weight of what I'd done crushed me from all sides, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I truly understood the depth of my betrayal. The room was silent, except for the sound of my shaky breath. My heart hammered in my chest, guilt clawing at my insides, threatening to suffocate me. I had been so sure of my actions, so certain that this was what I wanted, that I hadn't stopped to think about the consequences. Now, standing in front of Michael, the man I had promised to love, the man I had pushed aside without even realizing it, I couldn't find the words to express the regret swelling inside me. I can't believe I did this, I whispered, my voice trembling. My hands shook as I looked down at the floor, unable to meet his eyes. How could I have been so careless? So blind. I never meant for it to go this far. I never meant to hurt you. Michael's gaze softened for a fleeting moment, but the pain in his eyes didn't fade. He sighed, dragging a hand through his hair, a frustrated breath leaving his lips. You think this was easy for me? Watching you drift away, spending all your time with someone I didn't know? I couldn't just stand by and watch our marriage fall apart. You were slipping through my fingers. His words hit like daggers. I had been so wrapped up in my own loneliness, my fantasies, my desperate craving to feel desired, that I hadn't even noticed the person I was hurting most. I thought it was harmless, flirting, texting, dreaming, but it had never been harmless. Not really. I don't know what happened, I said, choking back the lump in my throat. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I never meant to push you aside. I didn't realize how much you were giving me, how much I was taking from you. Michael's jaw tightened. I could see it then, the anger beneath the surface, anger wrapped in pain, betrayal, confusion. You stopped looking at me, he said, his voice low but raw. You stopped listening. I felt it. I saw it. Every day. You were living a different life, and I wasn't part of it anymore. I tried to reach you, to fix things, but you kept drifting further. And then you lied. You didn't just betray me. You looked me in the eyes and lied, over and over. The shame burned hot in my chest. My stomach twisted violently. Every word he said peeled back another layer of my guilt. How had I let it get this far? How had I taken his love, his effort, his patience, and thrown it away in search of something I thought was missing? How had I become the villain in my own story? "I'm sorry," I whispered, barely holding back the tears. My voice cracked under the weight of everything I had done. "I never meant for it to go this far. I didn't mean to hurt you, Michael. I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't know what I was looking for. I wanted to feel wanted. I wanted to feel alive again. And I thought maybe I could find that with him, but now I see I was wrong. I was stupid." Michael didn't answer right away. His expression was unreadable. A storm of emotion barely held at bay. But behind the frustration, the disappointment, there was something even heavier. Pain. Deep, raw pain. "You hurt me," he finally said, his voice low and thick. "More than you'll ever understand. But it's not just about the betrayal, it's everything that came before. The silence, the distance, the way you just disappeared right in front of me." His words sliced through me. I felt like I was standing in quicksand, slowly sinking into the weight of everything I had broken. I hadn't just made a mistake, I had abandoned something sacred, something real. "I didn't think this through," I murmured, barely able to look at him. "I never thought it would end like this. But now I see, I've lost everything." The silence that followed stretched endlessly. My chest ached as I looked at the man I had once shared everything with. And now, he was a stranger, one I had hurt beyond repair. "I'm sorry," I said again, softer this time, like the words themselves were dissolving in the air. They felt so small, so inadequate. Michael stepped back, putting distance between us that I couldn't cross. His eyes were still clouded with hurt, but there was a flicker, barely there, of something more vulnerable. "I don't know if I can ever trust you again," he said. "I don't know if we can ever go back to what we were." That truth hung in the air like a fog, thick, heavy, final, and for the first time I understood the gravity of what I'd done. I hadn't just made a mistake, I had shattered something delicate, something I should have protected. My body felt hollow, like I was only a shell standing in the ruins of my own choices. My voice came out small, barely above a whisper. "I don't know how to fix this. I don't even know if I can. I'm sorry doesn't feel like enough. I've ruined everything." And in that moment, we stood there, two people who once shared a life, now separated by choices that couldn't be undone. Michael didn't answer. He just stood there, his arms crossed, his eyes cold. I could see the internal struggle in him, the torn pieces of the man who still loved me but didn't know if he could ever trust me again. The silence stretched on, suffocating me. My mind was spinning, my heart a tangled mess of regret and confusion. I wanted to fight for us. I wanted to prove that I could change, that I could earn back his trust. But deep down, I feared it might be too late. What would he do? What would I do? Was this the end of our marriage? Or could we somehow piece it back together, even if it would never be the same again? The tension between us was unbearable, and I could feel the moment slipping away. What happens next? The truth was, I didn't know. But I had a sinking feeling that the future of our relationship hung by a thread, and whether or not it would survive, I wasn't sure. So here I am, standing on the edge, not sure if I'm about to fall or if I can somehow put the pieces back together. The man I married is hurt, and I know I've shattered his trust beyond measure. I've lost myself, and now I'm faced with the hardest question. Can we rebuild what's been broken? But what do you think? Could you forgive someone who tested your loyalty like this? Was Michael right to do what he did, or should he have taken a different approach? Would you ever trust someone again after they'd betrayed you this way? I want to hear your thoughts. Comment below. Let's talk about trust, betrayal, and forgiveness. Have you ever been in a situation like this? How did you handle it? If you're enjoying these gripping, emotional stories, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Your support means the world to us and keeps these stories coming. Drop your comments, share your experiences, and let's keep this conversation going. I'm dying to know what you think. Could you ever forgive this kind of betrayal?